Welcome back to Hempfield Happenings. My name is Amelia Casanova, and this month's show contains a wide variety of topics stemming from new changes within the district, school-related activities, and our own local community. This school year, the district calendar looks a little different. Noah Valley took a deeper dive into explaining some of the changes it underwent.
In early 2024, the Pennsylvania state government introduced a new law that amended the rules governing instructional time for the education system. Recognizing this opportunity, the Hempfield School District modified its academic calendar for the current school year in order to enhance the district's flexibility. Pennsylvania now requires 180 days or 990 hours of instruction in school, whereas the old system required both. Hempfield is utilizing this rule change by reducing the number of school days in our school year to 178. As a result, some teachers had to adapt their curriculum to accommodate this change.
So when we found out that we were going to have 2 less days in one of the semesters, as chemistry teachers, we sat down and talked about that, and we decided there were a few topics that we were going to take out. They weren't topics that were needed if students were going on to AP chemistry and things like that.
For the first time, the district organized 2 parent-teacher conference days for all grades during Thanksgiving week this year. This increases the number of teacher in-service days to a total of 11. Additionally, students at Hempfield will have 20 vacation days and 6 early dismissals this year.
Yeah, it's always a great opportunity when parents are able to sit with their child's teacher to hear how things are going in the classroom. This was the first year we tried K-12 conferences. Many districts in the area have been doing it for a number of years. We've received a lot of feedback from parents that was of interest for them. Sometimes it's hard in terms of timing, and so what we'll be doing now that conferences are over is getting feedback from individuals to see, is this something that we should continue?
I had 12 conferences, so I did see interest in parents coming in and talking about their students.
Weather conditions also influence the school schedule. With the hour system, flexible instruction or asynchronous days are considered a full day of school. However, any other modifications can reduce the number of hours students attend. Additionally, the administration pays special attention to community feedback when creating the academic calendar.
Yeah, so I'm going to actually go back a couple calendars. So a couple years ago, we finished before Memorial Day, or right around that Memorial Day time. Last year, we did not. And then what we heard from individuals was, oh, it was great when we were able to get out around Memorial Day. And we just weren't able to make that work based on the calendar. In the 2024 school year, the last day was June 4th and the first day was August 22nd. This year, the first day is August 20th and the last day is May 29th. The format of this school calendar will continue into the next few years due to the construction of the new high school. For Hempfield Happenings, I'm Noah Valley.
Based in Columbia, Pennsylvania, Griddles Malt Shop offers a vintage atmosphere dubbed with some of the borough's coziest dishes. Brady Falcon explored the environment and history of the diner.
Griddles is a recently opened restaurant in downtown Columbia, and it's already started to find its own unique voice for itself in this new community. This retro-style diner has made waves in its short time being in town.
Well, I got started in the restaurant business about 3 years ago. My first venture in the restaurant industry. It's a lot of work. I found this 1932 lunch counter at an antique store here in Columbia and wanted to build something around it. Since it was a vintage counter, I figured out a 50-style restaurant would be a good fit. The community itself has been amazing in supporting us, not just from Columbia, but from all over. I mean, we've had people from all over the world here, Amsterdam, Australia, Japan. We have people from all over the world here, and they just fall in love with the atmosphere and the vibe, and Actually, the group from Japan said, "Oh, we only see this kind of thing in the movies." So they were really really surprised to see this kind of thing in America, and especially a little town of Columbia. The atmosphere here is second to none. It's, there's no other place around this area that has the atmosphere of Columbia history the way we do.
As well as building its own community, it is also reinforcing the Columbia community.
I started July of last year, so I've been here for over a year. We opened about a little over 2 years ago, so I haven't been here fully, but I've been here long enough that I know everything, I know my way around everything. Every single day I have at least a few faces that I see every single day. I know everyone by name just about. I feel like everyone that comes in here either knows each other or knows their family, so everyone knows a friendly face when they come in here. Everyone that I have says about the decor and asks me at least where something's from, so I just have to say, ask Fred, Fred knows.
In the following years, Fred the owner hopes to continue to grow the community surrounding Griddles, and every day he gets a little bit closer. For Hempfield Happenings, I'm Brady Falcon.
Last semester, Reese Geiger took a tour of a nearby fire department guided by a Hempfield High School alumni who was once a member of the local Junior Firefighters Club of our community.
Here at Hempfield High School, students have the opportunity to join the Junior Firefighters Club, which gives students a look into future career opportunities. When students graduate from Hempfield, they can already have a head start in the careers that they are interested in due to our variety of clubs.
I did a little bit, so I was still a junior up until my last 2 weeks of high school, but when you're a junior you can still do some firefighting if it's not, IDLH environment, which is, danger to life and health. So sometimes some brush fires is okay if you're junior. It all really depends.
Yes, my plan after high school is to work and possibly join Manheim Township Fire and Rescue, and then eventually I want to move to a bigger city and be a city fireman.
One of the things that students can do to find out if they would be interested in firefighting would be to join the school's Junior Firefighters Club.
So the Junior Firefighters Club is basically where you get your foot in the door into firefighting. We will go over just what junior firefighters can do, what you can do once you're not a junior firefighter. We are starting to do tours of different fire stations. We actually are going to East Pete soon to take a tour of they have a museum. So we're going to take a look at that. In the club, we do physical activities. So one of the big things is how to drag someone out of a fire. So we set up weights in the gym and we'll drag them around. Yeah. People join for various reasons. The main reason is just people that want to give back to their community and help out in a way. Other reasons we've had is just reasons to get out of the house or bond with your son if he joins.
There are many reasons why firefighters join, and everyone has their own personal motivation that keeps them going.
Just making a difference in the community, honestly. I like going out to events and being able to say hi to the community. I train a lot here, so I try to I wash all the trucks, keep the bay doors open so it looks good for the community, I really just make people feel good and comfortable and stuff, so yeah.
I just like hanging out here. I like hanging out with the people, and it sounds corny, but I like giving back to our community. It's just something to get me out there.
The Junior Firefighters Club gives all students an opportunity to get out and try something new while possibly finding their future careers. For Hempfield Happenings, I'm Reese Geiger.
This school year, the state of Pennsylvania integrated a system of learning to open doors to new academic benchmarks for K-12 education. The science, technology, engineering, environmental literacy, and sustainability standards, also referred to as the STEEL standards. I'm sitting with the head of Hempfield's Science Department, Mrs. Catherine Miller, to learn more about what exactly this means for classroom environment and experience for students studying science.
So the STEEL standards came out in 2022, and originally the previous standards before that were 2002. So it had been 20 years since the standards had been updated. It really is a shift in students from a list of facts of science to more of a way of thinking. So it's based on that three-dimensional learning, and those are science and engineering practices. So essentially that's what scientists do. The cross-cutting concepts are focusing on how students are thinking. So are they analyzing data? Are they modeling? And then we have the disciplinary core ideas, which is essentially the foundational content that we've associated. Because it's involving that 3D dimensional learning, the content has been scaled back quite a bit, and it's focusing a lot more on the science practices. In terms of how we teach science and how students are learning science, that's probably the biggest change. Previously, we had kind of like a cookbook way of teaching science for the most part, in that a lot of times the information would be presented to students, and then there would be lab investigations, and quite a few of them, but a lot of those lab investigations typically focused on confirming the facts that we were learning about. And so the biggest shift is that now we are starting with some of the data, and we're not getting all that information up front. So it's kind of like a story, and we're building the story as we go through the unit, where we give just enough. Because if you find out who, if you're like reading a murder mystery, for example, if you find out who did it at the very beginning, what's the incentive to keep reading until the end? And so it's giving data, we're looking at that data going, I wonder this, or I have questions about this. And then as a class, we're creating questions that we're going to answer throughout the unit. So students are really driving the learning. Teachers are there as a guide and to supplement that, but students are really kind of in the driver's seat.
So it encourages more of a hands-on approach and allows you to think deeper.
Correct, that's exactly what it does.
So what would you say besides that are some other benefits to these new standards?
I think with the new standards, it really helps students to develop critical thinking skills. So they're taking in information, and then they have to evaluate that information and make connections. We supplement that with a little bit of content to say, okay, well, we've gotten to this part, we understand X, Y, Z, let's have a little bit more information, and now we can kind of keep going with our understanding. When we get to the upper level classes, while we are basing everything on the steels for chemistry, biology, and physics, we're also looking at preparing students to take advanced placement courses, and also how that's going to prepare them for college. So meeting the standards, but also giving them the skill set they need to pursue those upper level science classes. The biggest challenge from the teacher perspective is that before, the old standards were very content heavy. There was so much vocabulary you had to cover, so many topics that you had to cover. And so it really was a challenge to get all that information in, to have all the students understand that information in a fixed amount of time. What I think has been really cool about the STEEL standards is we're no longer going for that mile wide, inch deep content. Students are interacting with data, they're making conclusions from data. They are getting the experience or the ability to question and wonder first, and then we're following up with the content to supplement that. So I really do think that it helps internalize those concepts for students. You know, it's one thing to be told something and then remember that, just to remember it. I think it's a completely different experience for students to find the information and make those connections for themselves. It's something that's going to stick with them through hopefully their lifetime.
Well, Mrs. Miller, thank you for your time today. That was very insightful.
The Hempfield High School Symphonic Band Chamber Concert took place on February 3rd. Before the concert, students were divided into small groups and required to prepare a small piece to perform to an audience after a couple of weeks of preparation.
The chamber concert was originally designed as a way for us to be in small groups when we were coming out of COVID, and we were trying to get kids to listen to each other differently than in the full group of 50 or 60 or 70. And then since then, we've seen the value in kids having to develop their own individual musicianship because everybody's one on a part. So it kind of forces them to hear and think about music differently. My favorite part about the concert is that we can have 12 different styles and songs kind of rapid fire, and then every individual is recognized. You can see, when there's a flute quartet, you can see all 4 flutes. When there's a brass quintet, you can see all 5 people. Whereas when we're all on stage, it's kind of a big collective. It's a little more chance like grandma gets to see her grandson.
The chamber groups rely heavily on leadership, which puts Mr. Saracini in a tough spot to pick who leads the group.
I pick one student to lead the group because it's helpful to know who to look to, and usually I'm going to pick an older student who can do that. I do think that by the time students get to symphonic band, a lot of them have good leadership qualities. So everyone's going to bring their own natural leadership to the group and kind of help shape it. And if there's one person who can say, all right, and then count it off and do that thing, that kind of gives everybody some direction.
The students have a positive outlook on this concert, and most of them seem to really enjoy performing in smaller groups so they can showcase their musical abilities.
The hardest part about playing a chamber group, I'd say, is being able to take the 4 individual parts for us. So we were in a quartet, so there were 4 of us, taking those individual parts and making a cohesive piece out of it, and finding the kind of balance between all the parts that makes the right kind of sound. We were a little short on rehearsal time, but through we practiced a little bit outside when we came together, we were able to get it together by the concert.
This concert helps the students grow as musicians and become more confident with playing in small groups. For Hempfield Happenings, I'm Brady Sholkoff.
The Winter Formal, also known as our high school's Sadie's Formal, was recently held in the month of February and resulted in a great turnout. Andres Torres comes with a small peek into the huge success of the evening.
Although it is freezing outside, Hempfield students make it out to the Winter Formal. From hanging out with friends, enjoying the music, and eating food, what's not to enjoy about the dance? One of the most underappreciated aspects of the dance is the amount of hours and dedication student council puts in behind the scenes.
But in terms of behind the scenes, the student council crew comes to the school right after school, usually maybe like an hour after school lets out, and we start setting up stuff like balloons. We'll set up the photo booth this year, which we're excited for. We put up a bunch of posters. So it's nothing really kind of difficult, but we just have to come a couple hours early and set up. And that's really fun to do together. We put balloons up all over the place. It's nice.
In addition to the regular dance, there is a sensory hour designed for students who are sensitive to loud music and flashing lights. This segment takes place during the first hour of the dance, and a lot of the students that come for this segment usually stay the whole duration of the dance because they enjoy it so much.
So the sensory hour is held from 5 to 6 p.m. The rest of the dance is held from 6 to 9. So we have some students who have expressed some concern about the darkness in the gym. So we leave the lights on for the first hour. We have some students who don't really like the really loud noise that happens with the DJ. So we have music that we play, but it's at a slightly lower volume, so it's not as intense. And the other thing is some students get really intimidated about coming to after-hour events by themselves, and so the sensory hour also allows families or siblings to come and kind of interact with students so that they have a chance to participate in a dance, but they don't have kind of so many students there. So a lot of times with the first hour, they'll come and they enjoy it and then they end up staying, but for some students who maybe don't want the intensity of the rest of the dance, they come for the first hour and then they are welcome to go home.
At Hempfield, there are 3 main dances, with every single one of them being unique.
So the homecoming dance is traditionally held in the Buchanan Gym, and prom is usually held off-site somewhere else. And so we wanted to have something that was held at Hempfield, but we wanted it to be a little bit different from homecoming. So we decided to amp up the decorations. We really try to flood the Buchanan Gym lobby with lots of decorations. We have a DJ that is coming in from an outside organization, so they are going to be doing lighting, which is a little bit different from traditionally some of the things that have been done at homecoming. And then new this year, we have a photo booth that is going to be open to all students. So part of their entrance fee will be that they can have pictures taken with their friends so that they can remember the night.
With all the new features, including the new photo booth and the new DJ, there's a lot students can like. All right, what's your favorite part of the night?
My favorite part of the night is dancing with my friends. Him.
Probably the music.
Being here with my friends. The music!
My favorite part of the night is working with my awesome student council.
Oh my gosh, I get to see everybody all dressed up. They look amazing. This is such a fun night.
All in all, the Winter Formal is a place where students can relax for the night and also enjoy themselves. For Hempfield Happenings, I'm Andres Torres.
In other news of recently held events turning to be grand successes, Molly Constein offers us an insider view of what it meant to be a part of Hempfield High School's production of Les Mis.
This upcoming early March, Hempfield High School students are putting on a production of Les Mis. These students have worked extremely hard and are getting ready to put on an amazing performance for the community.
Most people don't realize just how many hours these students put in to make sure the community has a great musical to watch.
Hours and hours and hours of practicing to train my voice for this role. I play Cosette, and she hit some really high notes in the show, so that took me a lot of time to get down and be comfortable with.
There's a lot that takes place behind the scenes of a play that the general public does not understand or see in the show.
The sheer amount of emotion that I have to put into everything that I say. Since we're constantly singing, in most shows, like usually when you get to a climax of a feeling, you start singing. But the entire time we're singing. So having to put emotion into everything you say is just really challenging and really hard to do. You have to be very attentive with every word that comes out of your mouth.
As there are many talented high schoolers in the show, there are also a few elementary schoolers a part of it.
So it feels really cool because it's just like a first time thing that I've ever done, especially with my best friend. And I just get to know all of the high schoolers, and it's just like really fun. And my favorite part about it is mostly just definitely meeting them. So far, I probably had maybe 1 or 2 times a week, but starting next week, we're gonna have it every day of the week besides Friday. So getting to the end.
I think it was easier because they were really nice and it was really easy. They kind of just acted like I've been here since the first day, and they haven't been mean to me at all. They kind of leave me alone if I don't want to do anything. So I think that's really nice.
It's really emotional, and we want you to feel every single emotion that you possibly can.
Auditions for this show were just as hard and interesting. Between practicing lines and preparing yourself, there's a lot more work than the public sees.
A lot of the stuff that people don't usually see is the audition prep and overall just prep at home for getting into character. Because audition prepping, it's a lot of work. I know me personally and a bunch of my friends spent a couple months reading into the show and reading into all the roles and trying to get in character with it before we even knew what it would be. And personally, from going home after rehearsal, after we're doing scenes, I know me and a couple other people on the cast have watched a bunch of different versions of the show and kind of just seen how professionals would have done it and putting our own little spin on it.
Les Mis is a musical that all ages and families can enjoy.
So Les Misérables is French for the Misérables. It's basically a show that takes place during the French Revolution. My character has been in jail for 20 years, and when he comes out of it, he adopts a child and basically raises her to be a very proper woman. You meet a lot of our side characters like the Thénardiers, which are Liam Conicella and Izzy Conicella. And the big part of Les Misérables is showing how people overcome oppression and fight for a better cause, which I think is just a super important thing for everybody to learn.
We've all really found a place with all our roles, even people that don't have named characters. The ensemble really did a good job with showing all the emotion on stage. I think everybody did a good job with that.
I'll take the lot, don't touch me, leave me alone.
For weeks, this cast has been staying late, running lines, and figuring things out together. This cast is ready and so excited to put on an amazing performance. From Hempfield Happenings, I'm Molly Constein.
Who keeps herself so pure and clean?
Thank you, Molly. We're glad to report the musical ran smoothly and beautifully. With the recent ending of the basketball season, Carter Muma investigated where a lot of the talent is built in the younger years of children.
The Hempfield Youth Athletic Association allows kids of all ages to come out here every weekend and play basketball to help benefit the community and the sports teams all around Hempfield. HYA ranges from all ages, from elementary through the end of middle school. Volunteers around the area come in to be coaches, refs, and team leaders. HYA not only benefits the players, but the Hempfield community as a whole.
Oh,
it's a great question. HYA just allows all these young kids, these young athletes, these young players to learn a game that they love and to have some fun with their friends and their teammates. And it helps build camaraderie and helps teach them how to play the game so that when they're older, they hopefully play in middle school and high school.
These basketball games bring plenty of people in from all around Hempfield and allows everyone to come together and watch each other's children play.
Do you enjoy playing HYA? Do you feel like with playing HYA, is that going to make you want to keep playing basketball throughout your, say, elementary, middle school, and high school career potentially?
Probably.
HYA allows children to enjoy basketball and highlight some of their favorite parts of it.
Making hoops, passing to my friends, and pretty much it.
With HYA starting in the Hempfield area back in 1952, it wasn't until years later Mr. Enoch really revamped it into a more well-rounded sports program for all young students of Hempfield to come and enjoy. The idea of HYA is to allow teens and younger kids to develop the talent and game of basketball and the skills it takes to eventually play for the Hempfield High School team, preparing them with basic knowledge of the game, like how to outsmart your defender or fundamentals that will be added to their arsenal. With all that in hand, coming out and witnessing these games myself was quite the experience. I can see that not only is the program in good hands, but there is talent here waiting to come into the high school in the later years to come. For Hempfield Happenings, I'm Carter Moomaw.
That's all for this month of Hempfield Happenings. Thank you for tuning in, and make sure to check out our next month's show where we'll be featuring Downtown Lancaster's Music Fridays and a special new addition to Centerville Elementary School's Recess Time. Thanks for watching.